Today I am harvesting one of my favorite fruits on the farm. Can you take a wild guess what kind of a fruit this might be? So most people mistake it for a plum because of the kind of unique color this apricot has. This is not the plum. This is the apricot. This is the apricot variety called the Perimassi. Most of the apricots are this color. They are usually yellow on one side and they are orange on the other, but they are not like this. This has got a very uniform red color throughout. The other difference between the regular apricot and the Perimassi apricot, apart from the size, of course, the size of the apricot, this Perimassi apricot, compared to the other European variety of apricots that we have on the farm, is rather small. This is small, but what sets it apart is that unlike the other apricots, other European apricots that we have, this is sweet through and through. Yummy, delicious early in the morning, and I'm perhaps raising my blood glucose early in the morning. This is quite unlike any other apricot you might have had because this is sweet. Other apricots, they give you a taste of sweetness as well as they are somewhat tangy. Not this apricot. This is very sweet. This is one of the reasons that this is one apricot we are very loath to sell. We do not sell. This is not for sale, guys. This is what we keep for ourselves, for our own eating, or we dehydrate it. This apricot is best for dehydration because, and we dehydrate a lot of our apricots. This is best for dehydration because this is inherently sweet. You need, for dehydration, you need an apricot that is sweet, because if you dehydrate any other apricot which is somewhat sour, that is going to give you that kind of a taste, a concentrated taste of that in the dried form. But this apricot becomes even more sweet when it's dried because all the juices, all the sweetness gets concentrated in the dried form. So again, this apricot, like the other apricots, all the apricots on our farm, this has an open center. As you can see, I'm standing right in the center of the tree. There is no central leader that you have mostly in the palm fruits, the apples and the pears. Nothing in the center. This has an open center, or what is called popularly a wine goblet shape. And all the branches are radiating outwards. There's one branch over here radiating behind me. There's one over here behind me. Then these spreading outwards like that. I'm in the center. Nothing is there in the center. And this kind of a formation is very good because all the fruits they get, as you can see, are getting uniform sunlight. Now this kind of a formation is very useful because this kind of a formation will allow sunlight to penetrate. It's going to fall on all the branches equally. None of these branches are going to shade each other. Also, the circulation of air in the center is going to be very free. So you can avoid a lot of funguses by having this kind of a formation. The natural propensity also of the apricot tree is to grow like this. So what we do is we train it according to its natural propensity to grow in a particular way. These branches are radiating at an angle of about 45 degrees from the trunk in all directions, and it makes for easy picking also. As you can see, I don't have to climb the tree because all these branches are bent at 45 degrees. I can easily come under them and pick the fruit, and I don't need a ladder or I don't need to climb them. I don't need any specialized labor because this is something very easy for me. I can stand over here and I can pick off the tree. So like most of our apricots on the farm, this particular apricot tree is also growing on a rootstock. This is growing on the Myrobalan 29C. Now the Myrobalan 29C is a semi-vigorous rootstock. It's not really a dwarfing rootstock. So this training that we do, this kind of an open formation that we do, where we spread all these branches about, is also going to help in keeping the vigor of this tree in check. We planted all our trees, most of the trees at least, in 2022, and in 2023 we got a sample from this tree, and 2025 we got a very good harvest. That was last year, except that we also had a lot of hail on apricots. Most of the apricots were damaged, including the Perimassi. And this year as well, we have got a good harvest from the Perimassi, but not from the other apricots, not from the other variety of apricots, not as much at least compared to the Perimassi. So Perimassi has been giving us a consistent harvest year after year, regardless of the weather conditions, regardless of the kind of adverse weather conditions, especially that we experienced this year, because of which many varieties, one variety that I can name is Bella de Mela, which did not even have, some of the varieties, some of the trees of the Bella de Mela did not even have one apricot on them because of the adverse weather we had. The adverse weather was during the blossom of the apricots. There was a downpour, there was rain and frost, and there was a lot of there was a cold spell, because of which fertilization did not take place, because of which we did not have a good harvest from other varieties. But the Perimassi has performed regardless of the weather it experienced, and it's given us a comparatively very good harvest, at least compared to the other apricots on the farm. Now let's discuss the technical specifications of the Perimassi. The full name of Perimassi is Perimassi Carmingo. This is a French apricot developed by the French. It is, like most apricots, also a self-fertile variety of apricot. I think most apricot varieties are self-fertile. I don't know any variety of apricot which is not self-fertile. So that's the beauty of apricot. You can have just one apricot and it will still bear you fruits, because it does not need cross-pollination to bear all these lovely fruits. But under the same conditions, what is always best is that if you have cross-pollination, if you have a provision for cross-pollination, that is always best, because then you get better fruit set, you get better fruit quality, you get better fruit size. The Perimassi is considered an early harvest variety of apricot, but on our farm, because we have more earlier harvest varieties on the farm like Persia apricot, Hollycot, Wondercott, those are the early harvest varieties on the farm. So this we consider a mid-season variety, or the mid-harvest variety of apricot. This is what we are harvesting now in mid-June. Mind you, we've been picking our fruits, we've been thinning our apricots now and then. This tree, I think, would have produced almost about 20 kgs this year, which is a fair amount, which is a generous amount of production for a tree of this size and this age. This was planted in 2022, like most trees on the farm. And 4-year-old tree producing you a basket full like this is, I think, very good. And this particular Perimassi tree is the largest Perimassi tree we have on the farm. Last year, if I remember correctly, we harvested almost about 26 kgs from this one tree, because we harvested all the apricots all at once, and it came to 26 kgs. Now these trees, like I mentioned, are only 4-year-old. So every year, potentially the harvest is going to grow, because these trees are also going to grow. So this is another advantage, perhaps unintended advantage, of having an open center formation to the apricot trees, is that you can come right in the center and you can turn around to whatever branch you want to in all directions. If you want to pick fruit from this branch, you can easily do so, and then you can turn around and pick fruit from this branch behind you. All the branches are surrounding you, and you have a 360-degree view of all the fruits growing on these branches, and they are easily accessible to you. I think most of the cost in a farm, in an orchard setup, is also, it also goes towards paying specialized labor to climb your trees, to put on ladders where you need 2 people, 1 person to hold the ladder for you. So it becomes a kind of a cumbersome process. It's not easy, and most of all, it's also not an enjoyable picking experience. So I'm done with these branches, so I can turn around and pick from these branches behind me. So it becomes so simple, so effortless, and it's an enjoyable experience. If you've picked fruits before, I think it's very therapeutic to come into the farm and pick your fruits. And if the fruits are organic, then that's a bonus, of course. What I'm additionally doing over here as I'm picking the fruits is I am also pinching some of these new shoots, and this pinching is because I want to keep these branches short. What I'm doing exactly is I am pinching off the tops which have all the auxins, the growth hormone which sort of gives vigor to the branch, and I'm taking those off. I'm pinching that auxin off so that the branch, like this branch over here, this has this new shoot coming up. This can become very vigorous because the auxin on the top will encourage it to grow. I pinch it so that this branch starts bearing me fruits, because that's what I want from the branch. I want it to bear fruits rather than it takes all the energy into growing all the wood and becoming really tall. And also this is growing in the center, it's growing towards the center. And this is one space where I want all the branches to be really small and stubby, producing me only apricots. Now, if I bring up this basket full of Perimassi apricot against this apricot tree over here, this one is the big red, by the way, the contrast of colors is very clear. This apricot is yellow predominantly, and it has an orange tinge on the other side, whereas the Perimassi is burgundy colored. It has a very uniform color. So when we started picking our apricots, when we got the first sample of the apricots on the farm, we have almost about 15 different varieties of apricots. Among them, Perimassi became an instant favorite.